What's going on, guys? This is going to be our episode 3 review for Hawkeye. Spoiler warning in case you have not seen this episode yet. I'd probably say this is, so far of the 3 episodes, this is my favorite episode. I really, again, if you watched our first review of the episodes 1 and 2, rather, I said that the chemistry between Jeremy Renner and Haley Steinfeld, Kate Bishop, and Hawkeye, well, that was the crux for me of what I'm looking forward to the most, just the development of that relationship. And I just really feel like this episode just really did a great job of elevating that relationship. I really love not only seeing them just in general when they're in situations where they're not in peril, but especially when they're in peril, which obviously how this episode starts. I love seeing them work together, getting themselves out of tough situations. And just the way, again, the way they interact with each other and work through situations where they're in peril or where they're in a tough situation. I love seeing them work out of that. And again, their chemistry is just, for me, it's off the charts and it's terrific. And I think they work so well together. And yeah, we're going to talk about more things that I enjoyed about this episode. But just starting off, that's really one of the main things that I took away from this episode, on top of a major tease that we're not going to go too much into because I don't want to spoil it for other people or possibly even Jason here. But I really dug this episode. It's definitely my favorite of the 3 so far.
Yeah, I mean, at least for me, I don't know if it like stood out like crazy, but it was definitely really good. I think the whole series has been pretty good in my opinion so far. Yeah, like you said, I like their chemistry. I mostly just like Hawkeye the most, like just the way he's dealing with his issues and like the way he's obviously been kind of annoyed at Kate a lot, but he still obviously cares about her, and just their interactions, like when she is in his mind messing up a lot, like just the way he handles that, I think is pretty funny. So. I'm curious to see.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see that kind of grow even more because I'm sure it's going to, obviously. And then yeah, obviously this episode was doing a lot of setup for a potential someone to show up in this series. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And yeah, I mean this episode was really fun. I thought most of it was centered around the action of them escaping from like the tracksuit guys, and then that car chase was really awesome.
Right. And just really quickly, we're not going to harp on it for too long. That someone, we're not going to talk about who it is. We'll just say that there was that scene between Maya Lopez, aka Echo, and her companion, where they were talking about their uncle. Is that what it was, Jason? They were saying their uncle.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so they were saying their uncle. In the comics, we know there is a certain character that adopts Echo, which we are not going to mention here. You can look that up on your own if you want.
Don't do it. Just watch the episodes.
But yeah, you can. We have speculation on who we think that character is, and looking forward to seeing if that actually comes true. But again, like Jason said, it's definitely it was definitely a lot of setup in this episode, and we obviously know within the MCU, when they set something up, they really usually pay it off in a nice, beautiful way. So I'm looking really forward to seeing that. We got to talk a little bit about the action sequence, especially the one in the warehouse. There were some creative things that were happening in the warehouse, but I really love that chase sequence. The way that the cinematography in that during that action chase, some of the shots where Kate is sticking out the window and firing arrows, and I love when she's like going through the arrows, like what's this arrow going to be? What's this arrow going to be? I mean, we know it's MCU. There's going to be some comedic banter. It's just part of the DNA of the MCU. But I thought it was done in a really organic way here, and it really fit with these two characters and the way it was done. There were moments like I know there was obvious tension and things going on when they were in peril and all that in terms of an action sequence, but I found myself laughing out loud quite a few times during that sequence in a good way, not like laughing out loud where I'm like, I don't want to laugh here. I just want to enjoy this action sequence. So I thought that was very well handled. And again, I love the cinematography during that action sequence, especially some of those shots where she's sticking out of the window firing her arrows with the bow and arrow. I mean, it was really well done in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel is no stranger to making their action scenes infused with comedy, and they do it here again, just to equal success. I think that kind of, I feel like without the comedy, the action scenes would have been, I mean, they're still great, obviously, but the comedy just gives it a little bit extra, and it just makes everything more likable, and it gives more character development too, I feel, because it shows them kind of handling a tough situation, but like, a little bit lighthearted, and obviously just having some funny moments. But the thing with all the arrows to me was what stood out as just being like pretty hilarious, and her just not knowing what's going to come next.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, there was one time where he said, don't take that one. And then she said, what, there were 4 more that were crazier than that one or something like that. I forget what the line was exactly, but it was pretty funny.
Yeah, and then after that, obviously, I really enjoyed as well. Obviously, we touched up on episode 1 or episode 2. I forgot. I think it was episode 1 where we see that Hawkeye's got a hearing aid just from all the damage of from all the battles because we know he's not a super. I mean, he doesn't have any superpowers. He's just a guy with a bow and arrow, as he mentions in Avengers: Age of Ultron to Scarlet Witch. None of this makes sense. I'm firing bow and arrows and the city's falling. Whatever he says. So he's been inflicted a lot of damage and he's got hearing problems. So I really like that they actually like paid some consequences towards that. Where I mean, it wasn't very long, but even the limited time where he couldn't hear anything, and then he had to kind of communicate with Kate. Obviously, it was easily well done with the writing on the paper and all that. But me personally, I have a deaf best friend. His name is Will. I know sign language. So, I could totally relate to that whole situation because when I first met him, I didn't know how to speak sign language. So, being someone who's best friends with someone who's deaf, I could totally appreciate and relate to that whole situation. And I like the way it was played off there. Also, too, I do want to mention, too, I really like Echo so far and the way she's portrayed. And it's really cool, too, how this is the second, not only deaf character in the MCU this year, but second female deaf character that we've had, Makari from Eternals. And also now Echo in this show. So I really like the way they're paying service to these types of characters with these types of handicaps and just doing a really nice job of ingraining it into the story without it feeling forced or something that's unnatural. And again, someone who speaks sign language and someone who has a best friend that is hearing impaired. I really appreciate it and love the way that Marvel is handling this.
Yeah, they're definitely, and it's, like you said, it's not forced. It's just kind of natural, especially in this story. It makes sense. And the fact that Clint, I mean, I think they added the thing with Clint being hearing impaired to like match it. But it's kind of cool that it's like working out that way. And then she even said at one point, like, you'd be better off not using that because I guess, I guess it'll heighten his other senses. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some kind of scene where he doesn't have his hearing anymore, where he has to use some
100%.
kind of senses.
100% correct. Yes, it's definitely foreshadowing. There's going to be a moment, most likely in the finale or one of the episodes, could be with a certain uncle or someone, where he does not have the use of his hearing aid and he's going to have to use his heightened senses. Maybe Daredevil comes in and shows him how to do it the proper way. That's a joke. But yes, he's going to have to do that without the use of his hearing aid. You're absolutely correct, Jason. That was complete foreshadowing, and I'm looking forward to that. Because we know, I mean, we all know Hawkeye or Clint Barton at this point. He's a very smart character. He knows how to adapt to certain situations, and there's no doubt in my mind that that's going to be a very big, powerful character moment when he has to adapt to that, like in a permanent circumstance without it. So, in one of the episodes where he's really in danger, and there's a lot of stakes and tensions in that moment. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Especially versus a certain possible someone that I think you guys know who we're talking about, but we're not going to mention his or her name. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I also really dug Jason too. I really liked. It wasn't like we didn't go on to it too much, but in the limited time we did stay on it, I really liked the backstory for Echo. I thought that was really well. It was emotional. Was well told. And in the little amount of time we did get, we understand where she comes from, why she is the way she is, and what her motivation is against Ronan. It's very it's very well done.
Yeah, it's the classic dead parents story. It seems to be in every.
I've never seen that
hero driven story, but
never seen that in a comic book.
Obviously, Ronan killed her father, and she wants revenge. Classic.
Which you know what? I'm actually really glad that we're dealing with the consequences of Clint Barton as Ronan because, again, we all know this during Avengers Endgame and that whole 5-year gap after his whole family was snapped. He was in a very dark place and was not, the Clint Barton that we know, and that's why he, turned to the guise of Ronan, where he was kind of more just like taking out the trash and, doing what he did. And again, that's not the Clint Barton that we know. That's kind of more dark Clint Barton, but I like that we're paying, that we're dealing with the consequences of what he did during that 5-year gap. I appreciate it, and I like where we're going with this.
And he totally was not lying when he told Echo that Black Widow killed Ronin, because she basically made him stop being Ronin. So she did kill him.
Yeah, good point. Definitely. What else? I guess so. He also got his hearing aid fixed. They had that. I didn't. Again, just talking about their chemistry. I really enjoyed that conversation they had at the lunch where she was talking and talking, and
he didn't even have the hearing aid in. Oh,
yeah, that
was that out the whole time?
Yeah,
and he didn't even answer, and he's just like, "Can I get some more coffee?" Just after that, they went to her mom's house, and then what's his name? Jack was there.
The swordsman.
Yeah.
And he stuck I remember when that ended. I was like, no, we can't end it right there. But that was a good little cliffhanger ending to get us prepared and ready for next week. Because again, I'm sure most of you had that same reaction that I have, where no, I want to see what happens right now, right away next. So, like I said, I really enjoyed this episode. The action was good. There was a lot of good character moments. I really enjoyed how much more the relationship and the bonding is going on between Kate Bishop and Ronan. I was about to say Ronan. And Clint Barton, Hawkeye. I really like how he's really being a mentor towards her. And also, I like, too, that it's not always, like, clear-cut and dry, like, sunshine and rainbows. I like how sometimes he can get annoyed with her, which is totally normal and natural in that sort of situation, especially, given the circumstances of each have been, gone through in their lives so far. So it's totally, like I said, it's totally organic and natural, and I love that. I love their interactions. And I just like the setup of a possible character that we're getting ready to see. I really dig Echo. I like her motivation. The actress is terrific. I like how the use of a hearing impaired character, the way she's being used. I think she's pretty much a badass too. I like her backstory. So I thought this episode did a lot of good, and as you mentioned earlier, did a really good job of just setting up for not only the rest of the series, but the next episode as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it, especially if someone makes his appearance in this episode or in this upcoming episode. So, excited to see what happens next.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. Let us know in the comments section, what did you think of this? What are you expecting of the rest of the series? And are you enjoying the series so far? We'd love to hear from you in the comments. We will be doing a Hawkeye episode 4 review, and obviously we're going to be reviewing the whole show. So if you don't want to miss it, hit the subscribe button. Also hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our videos and you're notified right away. Also, if you feel we've earned it, we really would appreciate a like. It really does help us out, and we would appreciate that. And until then, we will see you guys next time.